All right, Bulls and Bears, back with another dose, BX4, another dose of economic reality, bull to the bust, economic financial news. Let's get caught up on everything. You might hear my voice a little bit scratchy. I didn't put out a video for 2 days, wasn't feeling the best. Today, starting to feel a little bit better, so hopefully you all had a better holiday than me. The holiday was good, but just being sick, and if you have kids, you probably know, you've probably experienced, you get sick much easier when kids bring germs home from school. Anyways, hope you're all doing good. Chaos, possibly just days away. That's what a lot of people are saying, and I tend to agree with that. It's very, very likely. Nothing's set in stone. There's no crystal ball. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but major changes coming up with the new administration taking over in mid-January. A new set of rules and things being implemented, programs being implemented that we've never seen before in this country. What's it all going to look like? Or will we even make it that far? Will something big drop, or will there be a plunge before then? Will there be a situation that pops up that throws the United States or the world into chaos, right? We saw what happened in 2020. A lot of people think that something similar could, quote, break out at any time. All right, first let's get into the economic news here. Of course, we're all waiting for a crash. We're waiting for the black swan. But in the meantime, take a look at things continue to get worse. A lot of people, not a lot, but every now and then I see a comment that says, JJ, it's the same thing over and over. You're talking about the same stuff. No new news. Folks, no, it's new every episode. These are all the latest data, the latest news, just within maybe 24 to 48 hours. Nothing, we may talk about, home prices back a few years ago or this, but we're always correlating with what's happened now. And the trend continues to be things continue to get worse. Things continue to get worse. Look at a couple reports here. Take a look at this. Out of Bloomberg, the debt is accumulating so quickly that we're going to hit the new debt ceiling by mid-January. Didn't we just pass a new deal to try to avoid a government shutdown and breaching the debt limit? We're accumulating debt so quickly already coming up here in mid-January. How insane is this? Debt ceiling will be reinstated January 2nd. And remember, there were talks and hopes out of the new administration to completely get rid of the debt ceiling. In other words, they want to run up debt so quickly, they want to just avoid the drama and the temporary unknown of the whole debt ceiling debate. In other words, it's open-ended, no limits. I mean, there's hardly any limits right now. There is no limits right now. Really, when you look at it, they always pass the debt increase. The debt ceiling always gets raised. So you could argue that there already is no limit, right? But they want to even go a step further and not even have a debate or a discussion, probably so they can avoid the embarrassment of all the spending, right? They don't even want the discussion to occur. And remember, every time the debt ceiling discussion comes up, there's all this talk and investigation and digging into what we're spending money on as a country. And then it comes out, we sent 8 million, 10 trillion, 20 billion, 100 trillion all over the world. And I don't think they want that. They don't want people to know that, because a lot of that money gets funneled back to insiders here at the U.S., people with good connections. Anyways, I think most of you know how that works. So yeah, increase in the debt limit. Insane, folks. I mean, it should be a surprise. It should not be a surprise to most of us that are paying attention. Treasury Secretary Yellen said her department is likely to begin taking special accounting maneuvers sometime in mid-January to avoid breaching the U.S. debt limit, and urged lawmakers to take action defending, quote, the full faith and credit of the U.S., unquote. Full faith and credit. People have faith that the U.S. has an open-ended credit card, and therefore we're always going to pay our bills, even though in order to pay our bills, we just have to keep borrowing more money. So we're the richest country in the world, is what they tell us. But are we the richest, or are we just able to borrow unlimited amounts of money? Is that what makes us look the richest? On January 2nd, 2025, the debt limit will be established at the amount of outstanding debt. Yellen wrote in a letter on Friday to House Speaker and other members of Congress. Anyways, you guys should be disgusted at that, but maybe it's nothing new because you're used to seeing this just unlimited debt. The problem is if this continues, the cost of living, the cost of everything is just going to continue to go up because inflation is mostly impacted by the money creation, right? There's many other factors, but that's the gist of it right there. Speaking of getting worse, what do we say right here on this channel? We said it's going to continue to get worse. And looking back here, 2024, another 18% uptick in homelessness as affordable housing remains out of reach for many people, right? A lot of people said I was doom and gloom. I was fear mongering. They said home prices were going to come back down to affordable levels because home prices are too high. Folks, they can keep markets propped up because we have an unlimited printing press. We have an open-ended credit card. They can keep markets propped up and they can keep prices elevated longer than you can imagine, longer than anyone can imagine. In fact, prices never have to come down, right? And we've seen many other countries where prices didn't come down, right? Hyperinflation ensued in many other countries. When there's no limit on the amount of money that can be created, the sky's the limit. It's to the stratosphere and beyond. There's no limit, folks. Homelessness up 18%. Home prices too high, but that's part of it. A big part of it is the mental health issue. A lot of these people are just hooked on drugs and drink or both. And why are so many more people wanting to just go get wasted? Right? That's the question. Why do so many people just want to throw their life away, just drink their life away, and do whatever else? And they're not able to function in society. Is it because of the cost of living? People are just so depressed and checking out of the game and just say, okay, I'll live in a tent in an alley in Skid Row. I'm not even going to try. Is that what's going on? The United States saw an 18.1% increase in homelessness this year, a dramatic rise, driven mostly by lack of affordable housing as well as devastating natural disasters. That's another thing too. Several parts of the country saw an uptick in population. We all know what's going on with that. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development said the tallies taken across the country, more than 770,000 people were counted as homeless. I'm surprised it's not worse than that, considering all the people that are coming here and considering that homes are so costly. Now, speaking of unaffordable housing, U.S. median home price expected to hit $410,700 in 2025. Home prices could climb another 2% and an additional 2% in 2026, according to the latest forecast. Of course, if they keep buying the mortgages, we know who's buying the mortgages. We know the open-ended credit card enables certain entities to come in and buy these mortgages. That way, the banks don't have to worry. It's almost like the banks have no worry, no fear of loaning out too much money. And not just the banks, the non-bank lenders. No fear, no worry of loaning out too much money. No concern, no restrictions on the money that's loaned out because they don't have to worry. They're backstopped, right? They have an unlimited life jacket, so to speak, or unlimited life support. And we saw this all started back with the bailouts in 2008. Well, it continues with the banks being too big to let go under. And it's going to continue, folks. I mean, these home prices can go up from here. It's all about how much money is loaned out. We have investors coming in, buying 1 out of 2 homes in some areas, like here in California, driving prices up, driving home prices beyond what most people can afford. And it's just going to continue unless something big changes. Now, some people are saying that the new administration in January, a lot of this is going to change. Companies won't be allowed to do this. There won't be unlimited borrowing. I would say it's nice to hope that. But from what I've seen so far, all these things that made the cost of living so high, made home prices so high and everything else so high, it's just going to get worse. All these things are going to get worse. Remember, the new administration is talking about the leaders should be able to say what interest rates are. Again, no limit and no debt ceiling discussion, no debate on it. It just should be open-ended, unlimited, no discussion, no debate. But then we have some other things that are likely to set off a lot of fireworks. We've never seen the events, or we've never seen what's likely to happen. We've never seen that before in this country, where we try to send tens of millions of the not so legal people out of the country. So it's going to be very interesting. What kind of effect is that going to have on the markets, on the cost of living, on jobs? Some people say that the cost of fruits and vegetables are going to go really high because no one will be able to pick the fruit at such a low cost labor. So when you look at it, you have to wonder, is it actually about helping people, or is it about having low cost labor? That's very interesting. Now, still on the topic of housing, home prices went up another 0.5% in November. That's per Redfin. Housing supply did end up slightly higher with a 12% rise year over year. So for those of you looking for a surge in homes for sale or a surge in supply and hoping that will bring down prices, it's not happening. Even with the rise in supply, home prices still going up in most areas. So you have to ask yourself, why would that be happening? Well, if you watch this channel, you know exactly why it's happened. It's no secret. It's no mystery. But yet, I still see millions of people out there scratching their head, wondering how this could happen. All these people making TikTok videos, some of them crying. I can't afford rent. I can't afford home prices. Why is this happening? I don't understand. How is this possible? My parents paid 1/10 of the price that I'm going to pay for my home, or my parents paid 1/10 of the rent that I'm paying for rent, right? People just don't understand this. It's not something that's taught. It's not something that's in our schools. It's not something that's talked about on the 6 o'clock news or your local news, national news, none of it, right? Nobody is out there telling people what's really going on here and why this is happening. All right, so back to the rise in homelessness, another 18% increase this year. Why, when we continue to be right year after year, why do we still see people down in comments, you're doom and gloom, right? You're forecasting things to get worse. But every year we look at it, things do get worse as far as the homelessness, the affordability problems, people in their eyeballs in debt, can't get out of debt. In fact, it's so bad that seniors, we have another record number of seniors still with still with student loan debt. Student home too, but student loan debt they can't pay off. Let's take a look. Take a look right here out of WAPO. Elderly, that's right, elderly student loan borrowers owe $121 billion, and they're asking for relief. Older borrowers are among the fastest growing segments of the government's student loan portfolio and their Social Security benefits. Folks, this is sad when elderly people are still in student loan debt from their 20s and maybe 30s, depending on how long they took to complete their schooling. Folks, this is sad, folks. But it continues to get worse. Another uptick in the number of elderly people with student loan debt. All right, now this headline, it's kind of deceptive. It's accurate, but deceptive. Credit card debt set to hit record levels as consumer holiday spending rises. So a little bit misleading because they put set to hit. It's already at record levels. It's been at record levels for over 2 years now. But they make it sound like it's just now hitting record levels. No, it's already been at record levels. It's set to hit another record, but we've already seen record levels of debt for many years now. Consumers are on track, spending record amount of money this month. Already 36% of Americans went into debt this season. One recent report found leaning on credit cards to purchase gifts will come at a high cost if these balances aren't paid off quickly. And guess what? It was another big percentage of people still paying off last year's credit card. So in other words, most people just carry this debt from year to year to year. And then as people age and even in their elderly years, they're still carrying debt that they never pay off. So very interesting. This is just now the new normal. People have grown to be just accustomed to endless debt, always be in debt. And sometimes debt can be good. You can actually buy a home, take out a loan, borrow money to buy a home. The home price goes up. You sell it years down the road. Maybe you'll double your money. Maybe you'll triple your money. So debt can be good to get your foot in the door. But we're not seeing that for most people. We're seeing most people having to work until their very, very later years. And it's just very, very sad. If they're not working, they're stressed, they're struggling. And a lot of people just end up on the street homeless because of the stress. And I think the mental health strain and the toll it takes on people's mental health. I mean, that's my opinion. And what do you think about all this? Please let me know down in comments. Look at this. The Federal Reserve sued by big banks over stress tests. So the companies, the banks in this case, do not want to be stress tested, or they don't like the way that the stress tests are being conducted. But even with the stress tests, they're still guaranteed to be able to loan out money. There's no restrictions here. So why would they be suing the Fed? The lawsuit asks the court to declare unlawful the models and scenarios used in the 2024 stress test, as will those in 2025 and the 2026 versions. So if there's no limit right now on the amount of money that can be loaned out, why would the banks be concerned? So it's very interesting. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. There could be something bigger happening behind the scenes that really no one is aware of. Otherwise, why would they be suing the Fed? It almost seems unreal that the banks would try to sue the Fed. That's basically their life support, right? So very interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see how this plays out here as well. Now, moving on here to some other news, the cost of living, in this case, dining out and fast food. The two most expensive places, or maybe not the most expensive, but the most overpriced fast food places, Shake Shack and Five Guys. I haven't seen any Shake Shacks here in California. Maybe there are some. We just don't have any where I've seen them. Five Guys, ridiculous. I went in there. It was $12 for a hamburger. They're big hamburgers. But $12 for a hamburger? Outrageous. So I only went there because it was my son's birthday and he likes it. But after paying like whatever it was, $60 for 5 people and then $70 after I think somebody got some fries and maybe a shake. Ridiculous, folks. Surprising that these places haven't went out of business. So we see the 99-cent store going out of business, but a $12 hamburger place isn't going out of business, right? It almost makes you scratch your head. Sure, the unlimited credit cards, the banks loaning out endless amounts of money, but still people choosing to pay this much for these food items. Same thing with Chipotle. We talked a couple reports ago about the complaints about Chipotle serving sizes getting smaller, but yet people still continue to go there. If the food's good, people will continue to go there. And I think that's what the food companies and what these restaurants have discovered. Now, when you look at the 99-cent store, you might scratch your head and say, well, you would think that would stay in business, and it went out of business, but you would think it would stay in business because it's so cheap and people need cheap stuff. Well, they had a big theft problem. They had a big, what they called a shrinkage problem, where items were leaving the store without people paying. Not so much at these food places. Nobody's running out of Five Guys burgers. They're not running back into the grill, taking their hamburger off the grill, because you pay first and then they make the hamburger. So I think that's why these overpriced places are still in business. They don't have to worry about theft. Not too many people stealing fries and hamburgers because you pay in advance. And you guys know how that goes. In other news, study finds young and restless 37% of Gen Z are skipping the gym and going to Ozempic, so this new wonder weight loss drug. All right, so people are not going to the gym, they're not working out, they're just taking a pill, thinking this is going to be the solution to being fit and being healthy. Folks, if anything looks like a shortcut, if it sounds too good to be true, there's probably some bad effects that's going to come out of it. So anyone thinking about doing this or doing it right now, you might want to be very careful. There's no way to just bypass Mother Nature and the way the body works. Sure, you can kickstart your metabolism with supplements and stuff like that, but even those have a side effect, because when you quit taking them, right? I used to take these stimulants. They had caffeine and they had some other things in them. I used to take them back when I worked out a lot, and it would help. But then as soon as I stopped taking them, I didn't have as much energy, and the weight wouldn't drop off as easy. In fact, I would gain weight. And that was just on some caffeine stimulants, and had some other stuff in it, guarana and some other, can't remember what else it was. Anyways, the bottom line is what I'm trying to say is be careful, because sometimes an easy shortcut or a way to get around hard work and actually working out and getting in shape, these shortcuts can sometimes have some very bad consequences. Study finds, anyways, they put that out there. Young and the restless, 37% of Gen Z skipping the gym and going to this weight loss, pill that they think is going to help them. Crazy, folks. What do you think about all this news today? The rise in homelessness, home prices predicted to go up more, but will there be something massive coming up here in the next few weeks with the new administration taking over, many people are predicting chaos. And could that bring the markets down? Or is it just going to be more rescue programs and more inflationary fixes to try to stop the job and the markets plunging? All right, all that. So let me know what you think down in comments, folks. Please make sure you're subscribed. As always, keep stacking. Big love. Bye for now. See you next time. Peace.